Your Tennessee Volunteers are now 5-1. Um, Bob, I'm not going to say that it's the prettiest win I've ever seen in my life. It's kind of ugly, but I just like to point out we are 5-1. We just beat Florida,
We just
so
beat Florida.
hey, it's a good day.
I mean, honestly, yeah, that's how you have to go look at it, really, Tim, because it's Florida. Anytime you beat Florida, you take it. I
Yeah,
mean, and in the past,
it was an ugly win, but we'll take it. We've had
how
ugly
many
losses.
times we've been the better team and still lost to Florida. So uh, you take a W.
Yeah. Now I'm not going to come out here today, Bob. I don't know about you. I feel you probably the same way. Can't be a sunshine pumper today.
No,
I'm not going to be a doom and gloomer either. Uh,
let's just try to be realistic.
yeah,
I mean, that's
there are some positives to take away from last
yeah,
night. There's positives to take away from the team, period.
yeah,
And there's some negatives too. So we'll dive into both today.
right. Well, I mean, one good thing, Tim. Let's start off with the defense. Okay, that's the defense. Uh,
Tremendous.
I mean, we're just first time since 1969 that we've held our first 6 points under 20 points.
Yeah. And in this day and age, that's remarkable.
Really is.
Because now your goal is pretty much holding people under 30. When back in the 70s, 19 points would probably won. You scored 19, probably won you a whole lot of ball games.
Well, I remember when you've talked about it before. I think Johnny Majors went up 3-0 Alabama one time and went in to kill the clock.
Kill the clock, baby, Johnny. Yeah.
Trying to kill the clock in the first half.
Boy,
He was ready to ride it out with 3 points. So,
Bama tightened that up quick more than anything. I just
but
feel
anyway,
like that.
that's a different story there. But yeah, absolutely. Defense playing very well. Uh, the, to discuss the defense, tell you what, Tim, uh, our corners, Ricky Gibson had a heck of a game last night. McCoy had a good game. Our corners, this might be the best tandem of corners we've had in a very, very long time.
I think you got to go back to mid eight, mid to late 80s, maybe early 90s to have to have corners that I thought were good on both sides.
Yeah,
And if these guys continue to improve, they're going to surpass those by a margin, I think.
yeah, because both these guys will be back next year. Uh, so they may be the best tandem we've ever had.
And it very well maybe, or at least in my lifetime.
Right.
Um,
Uh, so I mean that's impressive. I mean when you look at the stats for Florida, 2 out of their 3 leading receivers last night were tight ends. It wasn't wide receivers. You know.
yeah, so that's generally your corners that's going to be shutting those guys down.
Right.
Um, if you can have great corner play and great defensive line play, you can be a great defense. Right now, we're getting both of that. The
Yeah.
defensive line last night was once again, I mean, Omar Normalot, big game. Um, Pierce starting to look like James Pierce again. Um, Big O had some plays. Big Elijah, Josh Joseph's all over.
Joseph's quietly playing really good, really good. It seemed like he had, I think he had like maybe 5, 6 tackles last night. Every time I seen like somebody make a big play, it seemed like it was Joseph was right there.
Every week it seems like we've got different defensive linemen we can make
Yeah.
a shout out to. Um,
I
only
mean, like you
negative.
said, Pierce can't go without saying that Pierce caused that
Play
Oh,
the game.
probably to play the game with the strip right there at the goal line.
Yeah, that was a tremendous play right there.
Yeah.
It's so easy. He could have just not done anything really. The guy was going to hit the ground. He could have jumped on him, did numerous things, but he did what he took coaching.
Yeah.
What Garner teaches them every day about stripping, stripping, stripping. That is a player taking coaching.
Yeah.
And difference in the ball game probably right there.
Yeah, so it was, yeah. Big
Uh,
time.
only negative I have to say last night was the injury to Keenan Pili.
Mm-hmm.
It does not appear to be insignificant. Um, don't know when we'll actually get any word off of a serious injury, but
Well, I mean, I was at the game.
it looks like it's going to be a while.
I watched him come back there, and I can't remember when it was, but he was on crutches, had a big brace, looked like on his knee, and the ladies favored it quite a bit, which, maybe that's somewhat standard. I don't know, but as far as the crutches goes, but didn't look good.
Well, I know when he walked out to the tunnel, he was walking fairly normal. Now, that said, they had already said he would not be back in the game.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Carter had a heck of a game last night.
Hmm.
I think T. Lander's going to be fine. We've got to get Jalen Smith and hopefully Spielman back real soon. They'll get those two guys involved and up to play. But I think our linebacker play has been a pleasant surprise this year. Hopefully, we don't take a dip off if Keenan Peely's out for an extended period of time.
Right.
That said, that's about the only negative I'm going to say about that defense because even though the safeties may have given up a couple of things here and there, I'm pleased with that effort.
Right. Um, and you mentioned, I don't know if you mentioned it there, we was talking about the corners. You mentioned to me how well Ricky Gibson played. I think that's worth noting. Uh, he's playing really good.
He is, Bob. Ricky Gibson has really been quieter of the two. For some reasons, seemed like people tried to test McCoy more.
I know.
And McCoy looking like an All-American out there.
I mean, he does. Which tells you how good Gibson's playing. The fact that they rarely throw it to him.
Yeah, and he's had a couple of plays that have been made on him during the course of the season so far. But I mean, last night I thought he was outstanding, and he's been having a good year. So
Yeah.
I'm super excited about both those young guys.
Now, now we need
Well, let's go from instead of going from good to bad, let's go from good to middle to bad.
okay.
Let's talk about special teams real quick.
Okay.
Our kickers do well. We're happy there. This team, since Heupel's got to here, up till this year, through 3 years, have given up like 52 yards or something like that in punt returns. We're seeing a few punt breakdowns in the punt coverage this year.
Yeah.
Concerning, haven't beat us yet, but could.
Good. They just about beat us last night. We're going to tighten that up. We went from being the best coverage unit I've ever seen at UT to being kind of average right at the moment. We need to tighten that up.
Oh, absolutely. Like you said, about beat us last night.
Yeah.
So let's not. We need to, until we get this offense fixed. We don't need nothing can be a negative.
Right.
So let's go to that offense, Bob. There's nothing, no way to sugarcoat it. It doesn't look good.
No, I don't want to be. I'm not. I'm gonna be trying to be realistic based off what I think, and this is probably an unpopular viewpoint out there. Uh, but I'm gonna say I think we got some issues in scheme. Uh, I think teams have figured us out some. They run a lot of the same stuff on defense, and we're struggling bad. Uh, I think we need, as you mentioned to me before the podcast, was we need some counter punches to their.
Yeah, they've made their adjustment. We got to make ours.
We got to make an adjustment.
I thought it was going to be 12 personnel, but
Yeah.
that's not getting the job done. So it's up to the coaching staff to figure something out. I don't think you can change your scheme mid-season. I don't think Heupel
Yeah.
would change his scheme. It's
No.
what he's there for. But
And-
you've got to come up with
Yeah.
something.
I don't know if you completely change the scheme. That's difficult to do, and that's kind of hard to swallow as a coach. But I think you've got to do some wrinkles. I think you kind of got to, part of the problem is it seems like we're spread out too wide. And a lot of teams don't do, for easy routes for quarterbacks, they'll do some slants. It's hard to do a slant when you're on the sideline over there. You got too many people between the
Was a longer throw than what
longer throw.
it is normally, but I think we're lining up a little tighter than what we have been. Myself, I don't know if that's kind of what they're trying to attempt to do, but it's not working.
Well, I mean,
Obviously, it's not working.
like I was saying, I was at the game and I specifically watched our receivers, and I just didn't see them open very much. I mean, as much as I like our corners and I love them, I thought Florida's wide receivers was open more than our wide receivers. So I mean, I'm gonna give Nico a little bit of a break. I mean, I know you gotta. They say, especially at the NFL level, they tell you you gotta throw them open, and he's got to throw them open. But uh, it'd be nice to have some guys running wide open. So too. I mean, we're gonna have to try to scheme up something. Throw the ball more to the tight end. And throw the ball more to the running backs. I think those are things that we could definitely exploit.
Well, look at the running back for a second. Um, since they're not getting it done in pass protection, at least maybe you can draw somebody out of the box with you if you go out for a little swing pass or a wheel route.
Yeah, honestly, they're not. I mean, I thought our pass protection this year for the running backs, as we mentioned it early before the season started, we thought that would be a weakness for this team, and it absolutely has been. Uh, Sampson is below, well below average at pass protection, and Bishop's below that. So surely to goodness we got somebody who can do a better job. And if they're not going to be able to do a better job of pass protection, get them out in the flat. At least give Nico an option to throw to. They're not going to block my way.
Yeah, and the thing about it is too with the pass protection, you can know who to hit 4 times out of 5, 8 times out of 10, whatever. And the only things people's going to remember those 2 times you whiffed
Right.
or got blew up.
Or got run over.
Got run over. I saw, like last night, Bishop, I saw one play. Yeah, he picked up the right guy, but half a second later, his guy was making the sack.
Yeah.
Because he just ain't got enough eyes to really do something. And you got 2 larger guys on the bench over there right now. Listen, we've got away from a 3-man rotation with Darrell Sims. He's into a 2-man rotation, and I'm wondering if you don't need to at least attempt to put these larger backs into it. Maybe they're no better, but at least they got a little bit more size, a little bit more umph.
Right. I think it's a mistake. I think that's a mistake there. You need 3 backs. I couldn't tell you how long, Tim, and in recent memory, we've ran 3 backs. I mean, that's just an SEC thing now that you run 3 backs.
And it's not like we don't have talent on the bench, because I believe we do.
Yeah, I mean, it's possibly the 2 tight guys at 3 and 4 spots more talented than the guys at 1 and 2. So you got to get them guys ready.
Yeah. I think the addition of William Ange has been a net positive.
I absolutely agree.
If Sims can get this right here fixed, then I'd have to put him as a net negative.
At this point, I would. I think we've probably went down in pass protection a little bit, and that to me that is huge. I mean, pass protection's huge for running backs.
And look, I will say this, guys. He's dealing with young guys other than Dylan Sampson, and the last running back coach couldn't get Dylan Sampson to pass protect very well.
Right.
So there is something to be said about that. That said, that is why you're getting paid $500,000 a year to teach,
get it done. Yeah.
To teach young, athletic, strong men how to pass block.
Exactly.
So let's get her done. We got to improve there.
But we got to, on offense, man, we got to improve a lot of areas.
I mean, I've run out of fingers. If I'm going to finger point all our problems on offense, I'm going to have to borrow some.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of things to be fixed. And the bad thing about it is, this offense still, you look at it individually, I can see this offense being damn good. But it seems like we're out of sync or having an issue at every single one of these phases.
Yeah.
I think all of them can be fixed with the possible exception, maybe the offensive line. That's a little harder to fix in season, in my opinion.
Right.
Our tackles, first off, our interior, I don't believe setting the world on fire.
Right.
But our tackles are struggling.
They are struggling. I mean, offensive line's not lived up to what I was hoping. Quarterback play's definitely not lived up to what I thought. But like I said, though, I didn't think we had a lot of people running wide open last night. I mean, Nico missed a couple throws deep. But honestly, that one, uh, before he threw it, I can't remember the wide receiver on the play, but he wasn't open. Uh, I mean, he threw it, and then our guy got some separation, it seemed like, before he even threw it. But yeah, there's lots of people to blame on the offensive side. We got to get that better. Wish we had an open date this week. I feel like we could have, put some more wrinkles in. We do after Bama. Uh, I feel like that open date. I really wish we'd had it now.
Well, yeah, but it is what it is. Bama's not playing Bama ball either,
No, I
and
mean,
it's home game. So
Bama just about lost 2 games in a row. I mean, to Vandy, two, and South Carolina, two
if South
games.
Carolina wouldn't keep fumbling the ball last night, they probably lose that second one.
They probably got
They got that play.
by 2 teams with far, far inferior talent. So we won't dive too much into Bama.
No, well, we'll save that for later.
Save that for another episode coming up. But uh,
Do we need to throw? I don't want to jump in and interrupt the ball. I'm
go
sorry
ahead.
about that.
Go
But
ahead.
we got two guys at 6'5", 6'4", 6'5", outside. Do we just need to throw some jump balls up, some back shoulder throws, let these guys make some plays over on the sidelines, and see if we can get Nico with a little bit more, get him in rhythm or something. I mean,
Yeah, I mean that's better than what we got going on right now. Um, I think you, like I said, I think you get your running backs involved more. Your tight ends, man. I think Ethan Davis. You mentioned it beforehand. Ethan Davis. I know he's not the best uh, blocker, but you need to get him involved in the passing game.
he's a mismatch.
He's a mismatch, and I think
He's got
Nico and him
connection.
have a good connection.
Hmm.
I mean, and Nico needs somebody he can trust.
And he does trust Ethan. Um, when nobody else is getting open, I can't imagine Ethan Davis not getting open on a linebacker.
Right.
Bring him a drag route across the middle, and he's going to eat somebody up.
Yeah.
Uh, so, in conclusion, we're questioning the offensive line, the tight ends, the running backs, the quarterback, the
Coaches.
coaches, their substitution patterns, their scheme. Did we leave anything out? Trainers, uh, cheer coach, cheerleader coach.
Next episode.
Next episode on that.
Yeah. But the defense,
Hey,
remember defense. We think defense playing great. We just
oh,
need to,
absolutely. As long as this defense is playing at this level, we'll be in any game we play this year. That
it,
defense is.
isn't it crazy though that to think we're at this stage and we're like offense stinks. Did we think
Well, actually, before the year began, we talked about we thought the defense would be the better of the two.
we did? But I mean, I'm talking about like a year or two ago. Did we ever think that Heupel would have a bad offense?
Absolutely not.
I mean, we thought we always have a good offense. Could our defense step up? Now their defense is elite. I'll go ahead and say that. Our defense is elite. It's one of the best in the country. Absolutely. Uh, Now we just got to get our offense up to, I'm going to say above SEC average.
Yeah,
You know?
it's we need to get it functional.
Yeah.
That's the best way to
We,
put
we,
it.
need, we need to be able to score in the 20s on a consistent basis.
It's kind of sad, but yeah.
Yeah.
One more thing, Bob. I think needs to be pointed out was the number of recruits that was in stands last night for a huge game. You was there for the atmosphere. How was it? How was that?
Good for the most part. Yeah, I thought it was above average, as it should be for a game like this. Uh, but, big game. Important to win these type games. I thought it was really nice after the game. You have all the players going over to the stands celebrating. I thought that was nice. But like you said, huge recruiting weekend. Lots of big time players there this week and next.
Next week's even bigger.
Even bigger, yeah.
This week was huge, though. I mean, we had so many of your commitments back in, did George McIntyre, so David Sanders, um, and probably about 15 guys in. But the number for 20, the 26 guys, the 27 guys was huge. You know, we had Jason Witten's son. I believe he was supposed to be there last night.
Mm-hmm.
Number one edge rusher in the country coming in 26 was there last night.
I came away impressed.
Uh, yeah, yeah, I'd heard
I
that.
think he's coming back next week to watch
Ooh,
some a little bit of practice, and he's coming in for Friday to watch a little bit of practice and then watch the game Saturday. So he's going to focus on the coaching, but he came away very impressed.
yeah, and this is a guy that a few weeks ago had put out his top five. Tennessee was not in it.
Right. He says that in the new top five were there in the top five.
I was going to say I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Um, so the future of our program or the future of someone else's programs was in the stands last night.
Yes. Hopefully it's ours. Yeah.
And we'll probably have more on them and the upcoming recruits on another episode this week because um, these 2 weeks are our big, big recruiting
Yeah.
weekends.
And it's all about the Jimmies and the Joes, as they say,
Well, yeah, to a degree.
to a degree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to have Jimmy's and Joe's. You got to have X's and O's. They go hand in hand. But, Fulmer, and I'll say this, Saban won with Jimmy's and Joe's. Everybody wants to talk about him as a defensive coach. He was a great defensive coach. I also would like to say that every game he ever lost outside of his first year there, he was the more talented team, though.
Right.
Um, he never, I mean,
When you
at
got more
best,
talent.
yeah,
Yeah.
at best, uh, it might be almost even, but he realized, much like Fulmer did, stockpile talent, and no one ever stockpiled talent like Nick Saban did in the early 2010s.
Yeah. Sure.
So that's our way of saying give to the volunteer club. Something,
Yeah.
in the NIL days,
That's
that's unfortunately part of the
huge.
reality of
It
it.
is huge.
Any closing thoughts, Bob?
No, just the fact that we won,
Big Florida, man.
beat Florida, so enjoy it. I
Huge,
mean,
yeah, good gator meat on the Barbie.
if you got any Florida fans, first of all, I want to say sorry that you do. Try to think if you can get some better friends.
Yeah, upgrade, man, upgrade.
Upgrade. Uh, but I'm sure there's one or two good ones out there. But you just rub it in their face, you know.
Yeah, be classy and just
Yeah. Nah, don't be
no. Yeah,
Classy's overrated.
yeah, they're Gator fans.
They're Gator fans. I mean, just remember that. I mean, you'd be classy to somebody else. Florida fans, man, most of them, most of the ones I know, class is never in their what they are. You know what I mean? Anyway,
Well, part of that word is.
exactly, exactly. Yeah, that's 100% there, Tim. That's a good one. All right, guys. I think that's it, Tim. How about a go Vols? And glad we beat them Gators.
Go Vols, man.